Let's talk about Sonic storytelling. For over 3 decades, the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise has delivered some of the most memorable, fast-paced, and emotionally gripping narratives in the series, constantly evolving with each new installment, from the high-stakes, world-ending conflicts in Sonic Adventure 2 to the overly ambitious yet divisive plotlines of Sonic 06, and even the more philosophical and introspective journey that Sonic undergoes in Sonic Frontiers. There's no denying that Sonic stories have taken on many forms, some that have fallen flat either by becoming too convoluted for their own good, or by failing to take advantage of the unique world and themes that define the Sonic the Hedgehog universe. However, in the midst of all these highs and lows, there exists a hidden gem within the franchise. A game that doesn't just tell a Sonic story, it tells one of the best in the entire series. A game that, at first glance, may appear to be just another 2D Sonic platformer, but upon closer inspection, reveals itself to be a masterclass in interactive storytelling, where the player's decisions shape the very fabric of the world itself. That game is, of course, Sonic CD. Unlike most Sonic games where the story is conveyed through cutscenes, dialogue, or scripted events, Sonic CD tells its narrative organically, through the player's actions, the environment, and the consequences of choice. It presents the player with a unique opportunity. You can either blast through each level as fast as possible, treating it like a standard Sonic experience, or you could take the time to engage with the game's central mechanic, actively working to reshape the future of the world and free it from the grip of Dr. Eggman's rule. And that's where Sonic CD becomes so much more than just another Sonic game. It's a story about agency, responsibility, and the impact of your actions, seamlessly woven into the gameplay itself. It's a perfect example of how to tell a meaningful and impactful story without relying on long-winded exposition or forced dialogue. So that's why I'm going to break down exactly why Sonic CD stands out as one of the best Sonic stories ever told. Starting with, Sonic's adventure begins when he arrives at Never Lake, a peaceful and serene location where once a year, the mysterious little planet appears in the sky, hovering above the lake's surface in a breathtaking cosmic phenomenon. But instead of witnessing a majestic and untouched celestial body, Sonic finds something horribly wrong. Little Planet is no longer free. The moment you see it, the game tells you everything you need to know without a single word of dialogue. Instead of floating tethered to the land below, and its once beautiful landscapes have been tainted by metallic corruption. The sight of it alone is enough to fill you with a sense of unease and urgency, instantly making it clear that Dr. Eggman has already begun turning a once thriving world into a mechanized nightmare. This is the brilliance of Sonic CD's opening moments. Unlike the other Sonic games that rely heavily on expositionary cutscenes or dialogue to explain the situation, this game places you directly into a problem, making you feel the weight of Eggman's destruction through visual storytelling alone. The moment you lay eyes on Little Planet in its imprisoned state, you understand the stakes. This isn't just another simple mission where Sonic needs to stop Eggman from taking over. He's already won, and it's up to you to undo the damage he's done. And that's where Sonic CD's most innovative yet divisive game mechanic comes into play. Time travel. At the core of Sonic CD's storytelling is its brilliantly executed time travel system, which isn't just a simple game mechanic, it's the foundation of how the game's story unfolds. Unlike other Sonic titles where progress is purely linear, every single stage in Sonic CD existed 4 different time periods: the past, the present, bad future, and good future, each one showing the consequences of your actions throughout the game. If you play Sonic CD like any other standard Sonic game, simply racing through each level without actively engaging with the time travel mechanic, you'll inevitably find yourself in the bad future of each zone. And when you get there, the difference is striking. The vibrant, energetic landscapes that Sonic once ran through is now completely lifeless and decayed, transformed into cold and mechanic wastelands. Once thriving ecosystems have been stripped away, replaced by towering mechanics and polluted skies, where even the music itself shifts into an eerie dystopian melody, emphasizing just how much Eggman has twisted the world into his own image. Here's where the genius of Sonic CD's narrative comes in, because it doesn't force you to fix the world, and it doesn't lock you into a predetermined path. Instead, it gives you a choice. If you take the time to go back into the past, explore each stage, and hunt down Eggman's hidden robot generators, you can single-handedly prevent a bad future from happening. Suddenly, when you visit the future, instead of a delicate mechanical hellscape, you'll find a good future. One where nature and technology exist in perfect harmony, where Eggman's influence has been completely erased, and where the world is finally free from his grasp. The beauty of this mechanic is that it's entirely up to you to do it. The game never forces you to save the future, but it gives you every reason to want to, because Sonic CD isn't just about stopping Eggman, it's about your actions having an effect on the future. And to better understand why, we're going to take a look at the characters, starting with in Sonic CD, Sonic is playing the proactive role, where he has no ulterior motive for going to Never Lake. He's simply there just because he wants to, embodying his love for exploration and thrill-seeking. But when he sees what's become of Little Planet, he doesn't hesitate for a second. He jumps into action purely because he knows it's the right thing to do. He's not driven by obligation, just an unwavering moral compass. And if you embrace Sonic's heroic nature and free spirit, you can undo Eggman's influence entirely. Hey, speaking of Eggman, Dr. Eggman is the perfect villain for Sonic, but Sonic CD takes his thematic role to a whole new level. This is surprisingly one of the more darker interpretations of Sonic in the series, not just because of his actions, but because of what they represent. Most Sonic games see Eggman trying to build an empire, conquer cities, or seize ultimate power, but in Sonic CD, he's done something far more sinister. He's taken on an entire celestial body and enslaved it under his rule. He didn't just conquer Little Planet, he chained it down, literally wrapping it in a metallic prison. That imagery alone is enough to show just how much Eggman's need for control has escalated. Little Planet is a living world, one that naturally exists outside of his influence, yet he refuses to let it be free. This perfectly symbolizes his core philosophy. Eggman doesn't just want to rule, he wants to remove anything that exists beyond his control. And that's why he builds a robotic version of Sonic. He's trying to erase the very idea of freedom itself. And speaking of a robotic Sonic, few villains in Sonic history are as iconic and thematically relevant as Metal Sonic. His role in Sonic CD is far more than just another obstacle in Sonic's way. He's a distorted version of Sonic in every aspect. Where Sonic represents freedom, fluidity, and self-determination, Metal Sonic is the antithesis of that, a soulless artificial copy, built purely for obedience and control. Eggman didn't just create another machine, he designed a Sonic that doesn't think, feel, and doesn't act on its own desires, proving how much Eggman fears the real Sonic's untamed willpower. Hell, even their appearances contrast each other. Metal Sonic's design is very sleek and modern, yet dark and menacing, which contrasts Sonic's more welcoming and authentic design. He also represents a Sonic that didn't take the time to save the future, resulting in the bad future, the environment is cold, mechanical, and lifeless. The once lush landscape of Little Planet are covered in metal and pollution, completely stripped of their natural beauty. It's a world where Eggman won, where industry has completely overtaken nature. When you defeat Eggman in the bad future timeline, Sonic still technically saved the day, but it feels hollow. Little Planet is still in ruins, still shackled in chains, and worst of all, Eggman gets away with it. That means Sonic's efforts were essentially for nothing. He stopped him for now, but the damage has already been done. Now let's shift gears and talk about the good ending, because this is where Sonic CD truly shines. As I said before, to achieve the good ending, you need to travel back in time and destroy every robot generator in the past. By doing this, you're not just stopping Eggman, you're erasing his influence before it even begins. This means when you arrive in the future, instead of a robotic landscape, you see a world full of life. Nature and technology coexisting rather than being in conflict. It's not just about saving Little Planet, it's about making it better than it was before. This is reflected beautifully in the final cutscene of the game. In the good ending, after Sonic defeats Eggman in his final battle, Little Planet breaks free from its chains. It slowly drifts away from Earth, now fully restored, and even more beautiful than it was before. The message here is clear, because Sonic took the extra step to stop Eggman before he could take over, actively creating a better future. And that's where Sonic CD's story and themes hit the hardest to me. It challenges the player to think ahead. The game isn't about going fast. It's about taking the time to make things right, to make a change. And that is how you tell a Sonic story. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in whatever I make next.